Maya was 22 when her world shattered, and the person holding the hammer was the one she called her best friend. She lived in a comfortable townhouse where neighbors knew each other's names. Maya worked as a graphic designer, creating beautiful things every day. She was the kind of person who saw the best in people, who believed loyalty was sacred, and who trusted with her whole heart. Her boyfriend was Daniel, a 24-year-old architect with warm brown eyes. They had been together for 2 years, planning a future with big windows, a garden, and a studio where Maya could paint. But the person Maya trusted most wasn't Daniel. It was her best friend since high school, Claire. Claire was beautiful in a way that made people turn their heads. Tall and graceful, with honey blonde hair and green eyes that could sparkle with laughter or freeze you with a look. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, a job that required charm and persuasion, skills Claire possessed in abundance. They had been inseparable since they were 15. They had shared everything, secrets, dreams, heartbreaks, victories. Maya believed their bond was unbreakable. What Maya didn't know was that Claire had been jealous of her for years. It started small. In high school, when Maya won the art competition, Claire congratulated her, but something dark flickered in her eyes. When boys asked Maya to dances, Claire would say, "Of course they like you, you're so sweet," with a note of bitterness Maya never caught. As they grew older, the jealousy deepened. Claire envied Maya's creativity, her kindness, the way people were drawn to her gentle spirit. But most of all, Claire envied Daniel. Claire had been there when Maya and Daniel met at a party. She watched them talk for hours, watched Daniel's face light up when Maya laughed, watched him look at her like she was the only person in the room. Something inside Claire twisted with resentment. For 2 years, Claire played her role perfectly. The supportive best friend who listened, gave advice, joined them on double dates. She laughed at Daniel's jokes and told Maya how lucky she was. But in secret, Claire was building a plan. It began with small suggestions planted like seeds in Maya's mind. "Daniel has been working late a lot recently," Claire mentioned over coffee. "Does that worry you?" "He's working on a big project," Maya replied. "Of course," Claire said. "Just make sure he knows he's appreciated. Men can be unpredictable when they feel neglected." The seeds continued. "Have you noticed Daniel's secretary? She's very pretty. And I saw Daniel having lunch with a woman downtown. And maybe you should try harder with your appearance. You've been so busy with work." Each comment was delivered with concern, with love. Slowly, Maya began to doubt. She started checking her phone constantly, wondering if Daniel was really at work. She looked in the mirror and saw flaws she'd never noticed before. She became anxious, insecure, questioning everything. Claire watched with satisfaction. She was breaking down Maya's confidence, preparing her for the final betrayal. Then came the perfect opportunity. Maya had to travel for work, a week-long conference in another city. "Don't worry," Claire said at the airport. "I'll check on him for you, make sure he's not too lonely." Maya smiled, grateful. "You're the best friend anyone could ask for." Claire's smile was perfect, but her eyes were already calculating. The first night Maya was gone, Claire showed up at Daniel's apartment with takeout and wine. "Maya asked me to check on you," she said sweetly. "She wanted to make sure you're eating properly." Daniel, exhausted from work, was grateful for the company. They ate together, and Claire steered the conversation carefully, asking about his work, his dreams, and his frustrations. She listened in a way that made him feel heard, validated, and important. "You're such a good guy," Claire said, pouring more wine. "Maya is so lucky." "I'm the lucky one," Daniel replied, but there was uncertainty in his voice that Claire immediately recognized. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "You sound tired." Daniel sighed. "Maya's been distant lately, always worried, always questioning where I am. I love her, but it's exhausting sometimes." Claire nodded sympathetically, hiding her triumph.
The seeds she'd planted in Maya had created exactly the behavior she needed. Claire came back the next night and the night after. Each visit she was more affectionate, more understanding, and more available. She laughed at his jokes, touched his arm when she spoke, looked at him with eyes that promised peace, trust, uncomplicated affection, everything that felt missing from his relationship with Maya. On the fourth night, when Daniel was particularly vulnerable, Claire kissed him. He pulled back, shocked. "Claire, we can't. Maya doesn't appreciate you," Claire interrupted. "I see how hard you try. I see how much you give her, and she just keeps doubting you. That's not love. That's not what you deserve." Daniel's resistance crumbled. He was tired, lonely, and Claire was there, offering everything that felt missing. That night, he betrayed the woman he loved with the woman who was supposed to be her best friend. For the rest of the week, while Maya sent loving messages from her conference, Daniel and Claire were together. Claire was careful, strategic. She made him feel like what they were doing was inevitable, even right. "We'll tell Maya together," Claire said. "She'll be hurt at first, but eventually she'll understand." Daniel, drowning in guilt but unable to pull himself out, agreed. Maya came home Sunday evening exhausted but happy. She'd bought Daniel a gift, a leather portfolio for his drawings. She called from the airport. "I'll be home in an hour. I can't wait to see you." There was a pause. "Maya, we need to talk. Can you come to my apartment?" Something in his voice made her stomach drop. "Is everything okay? Just come over, please." When Maya arrived, her hands were shaking. Daniel opened the door, his face pale, his eyes red. Maya stepped inside and froze. Claire was sitting on the couch wearing one of Daniel's shirts. Time stopped. Maya looked at Claire, then at Daniel, then back at Claire. Her mind couldn't process what she was seeing. "What's going on?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper. Claire stood slowly. On her face was an expression Maya had never seen before, triumph mixed with pity. "Maya," Daniel began, his voice breaking, "I'm so sorry." "Daniel and I are together now," Claire said, her voice gentle, which made it worse. "I know this is hard to hear, but we fell in love." "You fell in love?" Maya repeated. "Claire, you're my best friend. You've been my best friend for 7 years." "I know," Claire said, tears in her eyes, "and that's why this is so hard. But I can't help how I feel. And Daniel needs someone who trusts him, someone who doesn't make him feel like he's always under suspicion." The accusation hit Maya like a slap. "What are you talking about?" "You've been so insecure lately," Claire continued, "always questioning him, always worrying, and Daniel told me how suffocated he feels." Maya turned to Daniel, eyes pleading. "Is that true?" Daniel couldn't meet her eyes. "Maya, you have been different lately, always anxious, always doubting me. It pushed me away."
"Because she told me to doubt you," Maya's voice broke. "Claire, you were the one who kept telling me to worry, to watch out." She stopped, realization crashing over her. "Oh my God, you planned this." Claire's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Acknowledgement, maybe even pride. "This wasn't planned, Maya," Claire said calmly. "Feelings aren't planned." But Maya saw the truth now. Every conversation, every suggestion, every planted seed of doubt, it had all been designed to break her down and push Daniel away. Claire had orchestrated everything. "Get out," Daniel said suddenly, but he was looking at Maya. "I'm sorry, but you need to leave." Maya stood there, unable to move, unable to breathe. The two people she loved most had betrayed her, and now they were asking her to leave so they could be together. She left without another word, the gift still clutched in her trembling hands. The weeks that followed were the darkest of Maya's life. She called in sick to work, unable to face anyone. She lay in bed, replaying every moment of her friendship with Claire, seeing now all the tiny cruelties she'd missed. One person who refused to let her disappear was her neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, an elderly widow who'd lived through her own heartbreak. When she noticed Maya's newspapers piling up and curtains always closed, she knocked and wouldn't leave until Maya answered. "I don't know what happened to you, dear," Mrs. Patterson said, standing in Maya's dark living room with a casserole. "But hiding from pain doesn't make it go away. It just gives it time to grow roots." That night, Maya told Mrs. Patterson everything. She cried until she couldn't cry anymore. "That woman was never your friend," Mrs. Patterson said finally. "Friends don't plant poison in your garden and then offer to water it. What she did was calculated and cruel. But Maya, what happened is not your fault. You trusted because you have a good heart. She betrayed because she has a broken one." Slowly, painfully, Maya began to rebuild. She went back to work, forcing herself to function. She started seeing a therapist, Dr. Lisa, who helped her understand that betrayal says more about the betrayer than the betrayed. "Your trust wasn't weakness, Maya," Dr. Chen said. "It was humanity. What she did doesn't mean you were foolish. It means she was cruel." When news of the betrayal spread, people reached out. A co-worker named James became a true friend, checking on her regularly. "The best revenge isn't plotting against them," James said. "It's healing and becoming even better than you were before." Maya threw herself into her art. She started painting again, creating raw emotional pieces filled with themes of masks, shadows, and hidden faces. A local gallery owner saw her work and offered her a solo exhibition. Meanwhile, Claire and Daniel's relationship was crumbling. Without Maya to betray, without the thrill of deception, they had nothing solid to build on. Daniel realized guilt is a poor foundation for love. Claire discovered that Daniel had never been the prize. Maya's pain had been the prize. 6 months after the betrayal, Daniel sent Maya a long email full of apologies and regret. Maya read it once, then deleted it. She didn't need his explanations. She needed her own peace. Claire tried too, showing up at Maya's workplace with tears streaming down her face. "Maya, please," Claire begged. "I made a terrible mistake. I was jealous and stupid. Daniel and I broke up. It was never real. But you and me, our friendship was real. Please, no," Maya said calmly. "Our friendship was never real, Claire. Real friends don't destroy each other. You showed me who you really are, and I believe you. Now I need you to leave and never contact me again." Claire left crying, but Maya felt no satisfaction. She felt only the quiet strength of someone who'd finally learned to protect herself. A year after the betrayal, Maya stood in an art gallery surrounded by her paintings. The exhibition was called Unmasking, and it told the story of her journey through betrayal and healing without using words, just color, shadow, and raw emotion. Mrs. Patterson was there, beaming with pride. James was there with his wife. Dr. Chen came, smiling at her patient's resilience. As Maya looked at her work, at the visual representation of her pain transformed into something beautiful, she realized something profound. The betrayal had broken her, but in breaking, she discovered parts of herself she never knew existed. She was stronger now, wiser, more careful about who she let into her heart, but she hadn't become bitter. She'd learned the difference between trust and naivety, between kindness and being a doormat. Across town, Claire sat alone in her apartment, scrolling through social media, seeing photos from Maya's exhibition. Maya was laughing, surrounded by people who genuinely loved her, looking more beautiful and confident than Claire had ever seen her. The jealousy that had driven Claire to destroy her best friend now ate at her like acid. She'd gotten what she wanted. She'd hurt Maya, taken Daniel, proven she could win, but the victory was hollow. She'd lost the only real friend she ever had and was left with nothing but emptiness. Daniel saw the photos too. He sat in his apartment feeling the full weight of what he'd lost. He'd traded a woman who loved him completely for a woman who'd loved only the act of taking him away. But Maya didn't know about their regret, and she didn't care. She'd learned that rising after betrayal isn't about the people who hurt you acknowledging what they did. It's about you acknowledging that you deserve better and choosing to move forward anyway. 2 years later, Maya met someone new, a kind photographer named Marcus who appreciated her art, respected her boundaries, and had the patience to let her trust develop slowly. She still thought about Claire sometimes, about the friendship that had been a beautiful lie, but the pain had faded to a dull ache, a scar that reminded her to be careful but didn't prevent her from living fully. Maya was no longer the girl who trusted too easily. She was someone better, someone stronger, someone who knew that the worst betrayals come from those closest to us, but so do the greatest loves. She was someone who'd walked through fire and emerged not destroyed but refined, and that made all the difference.